In the 1940s, boxing wasn't just a sport. It was business, corruption, a blood-soaked ladder, and if you wanted to climb it, you had to pay the toll. Jake LaMotta? He had the fists. He had the chin. What he didn't have was the right friends. The Bronx Bull wasn't a polished fighter. He was raw meat, uncut aggression. He didn't jab, he mauled. He didn't dance, he stalked. And he didn't fall, no matter how hard you hit him. But in that era, skill didn't guarantee a title. The mob ran boxing, and Jake wasn't part of the family. Welcome to BoxVision. So Jake did what no fighter ever wants to admit. He sold his soul for a shot. He reached out to the underworld, Frank Blinky Palermo, the Carbo crew, men who made and broke fighters with a word. Jake agreed to lose, on purpose. He'd take a dive, make it look legit, all in exchange for a promised title fight. The stage was set, November 14th, 1947. Madison Square Garden. Jake LaMotta versus Billy Fox. The fix was in. Jake LaMotta stepped into the ring that night, not to win, but to fall. From the first bell, something was off. Jake threw wild, clumsy punches that missed by a mile. He left himself wide open, took shots he'd normally shrug off. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't slick, it was a performance, and not a good one. The fans knew, the reporters knew, hell, even the referee looked confused. By round 4, it was over. The ref stepped in, called the fight for Fox, and the crowd erupted, not in cheers, but in boos. They knew they'd just watched one of the toughest fighters alive try to lose and fail at faking it. Jake walked out of the garden that night disgraced, but behind the shame was a quiet deal, a promise, the shot he'd been chasing. 2 years later, the deal paid off. June 16, 1949. Jake LaMotta faced Marcel Cerdan for the middleweight championship of the world. He battered the French champion into quitting after 10 brutal rounds. Jake LaMotta, the Bronx Bull, was finally king. But the crown sat heavy. He'd earned it with blood, but bought it with shame. For years, Jake kept quiet. Then, in 1960, he stood before the U.S. Senate and told the truth. He had thrown the Fox fight, and he did it to get his shot. They called it one of the worst scandals in boxing history. Jake didn't flinch. He just told it how it was. Some men box for glory. Jake boxed because he had to, because the ring was the only place that made sense. He fought legends, lived through hell, and told his story when most men would have buried it. Jake LaMotta died in 2017. Old, battle-worn, but still swinging in the stories he left behind. He was never the cleanest, never the flashiest, but he was unforgettable. A man who couldn't be broken, only bent. He fought Sugar Ray. He fought the system. He fought himself. He lied. He confessed. He hurt people, and he paid for it. But through it all, he never ran from the truth, even when the truth hurt more than the punches. His fists made him famous, but it was the deal he made in the dark that made him a legend. Not because it was right, not because it was noble, but because it showed just how dirty the climb to the top really was. Jake LaMotta didn't throw that fight because he was weak. He threw it because in that world, sometimes that's the only way to win. This was the story of the Bronx Bull, the fight he had to throw, and the scars he never stopped carrying. You've been watching BoxVision. If you felt something, subscribe, share, and come back for the next round. Because in this ring, we don't just talk boxing, we tell the stories that built it.